not knowing that song. You don't grow up in Kansas and admit to being in Kansas and then go places and people say, oh, do you know Dorothy? You don't grow up in Kansas and not know about rainbows and tornadoes. Well, a few years ago, I had my own personal experience with Over the Rainbow. I have a girlfriend. She's my best friend. She happens to be what they call Caucasian, and she has red hair, so she's kind of like an opposite to me. I don't know why we're friends, but I guess that's maybe why, because we're kind of like opposites. We go to Unity Church of Lawrence, and we were having sort of a spiritual meltdown. You know what that means? Where you don't know what you're going to do next. You don't know what God has intended for you. You've been chasing your tail. You don't know what to do. She says, "We need to take a road trip. We're not going to plan it. We're just going to get the blank credit card and the van, and we're just going to go." I said, "Okay, well, I need time to plan." She said, "No. That's not the way you do that. We're just going to." I said, "I have to plan it for Tuesday. I actually have a job, okay?" She said, "Okay." So Tuesday morning comes, and it takes us half a day to get out of town because we don't know where we're going. So we drive around Lawrence, and we went and picked up traveling food. You know, you had to get the pop and the chips and the pretzels and the candy bars, and And she had this really nice minivan, so the cooler sat right behind her driver's seat, and the passenger seat scoots back, and I could put my feet in the window. It's great way to travel. And we were trying to figure out, are we going north, south, east, or west? It's a road trip. It's a spiritual quest. You can't ask those questions. So there's a place called Clinton Lake on the other side, west side of Lawrence. So we went out there and sat on the bluff. Tell us where to go. What should we do? Finally said, you know what? Let's just hit I-70 and just go west. Just go west. Young man, go west. So we did. Now the beauty of this is, 2 grown women, no children, and no husbands. We could stop at every billboard on the highway, and no one was going to say a thing. Oh, and did I forget to tell you that Robin is a professional photographer? Ever traveled with a photographer? There's a photo op every 5 miles. It was my lesson in patience. Patience. Because she wants to shoot everything. So we headed out. Actually, we started on 24 Highway, whatever goes out west of Lawrence. We didn't get on the turnpike. We went through Topeka, and then we hit 70 on after that. So the first thing we see is the Land of Oz Museum in Wamego, Kansas. She said, "Oh, we gotta stop there." Did I tell you? No husbands. Stopped where we wanted. So we pulled off at Wamego and go into the Land of Oz Museum. A little history. My girlfriend Robin Lewis was Miss Teen Kansas in '75 and Miss Kansas in 1976. And in those days, you would dress up in something from your state. You remember that? Those days? And so she was, of course, Dorothy. So she has always collected stuff from the Wizard of Oz. So she had to go to the Wizard of Oz Museum. So I set her up. This is really funny. She's never forgiven me. I set her up really good. She went to the restroom, and I told the guy, I said, "She was Miss Kansas in '76. Tell her that you recognize her." So she comes back, and she's a little petite Irish thing. She's had 3 kids, but she looks great. He says, don't we recognize you? You know, were you Miss Kansas? She's like, oh, you recognize me? And I'm just like, I'm just cracking up, because I really got her good. And so finally, because I'm the honest person I am, she was just like, I can't believe this guy recognized me after all these years, and blah, 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 blah. And we're getting in the car. I said, okay. So I said, I said, she said, I said, you know what really great now is to see a tornado. From my lips to God's ears. We got to Russell, Kansas, and I was driving, and she was telling me everything that happened in her life. She's in the driver's passenger seat. I said, Robin, I don't like the way the sky's looking. I think we need to get off the road. We pulled off the road at a roadside stop and photographed tornadoes touching down across the highway for 30 minutes. I have to tell you, it was one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. From my knees up, I was delighted. From my knees down, I was scared to death. know at that time that the spirit, that being, you call it God or consciousness or whatever you want to hears everything you say and has a sense of humor. Because at that moment, we realized we were truly on the road trip to Oz. So, this is how it goes. First, I meet the Munchkins. Okay, so it's raining, I'm excited. So what do you do when it's raining and you're excited? You gotta go to the bathroom. So I scurry in the bathroom. I don't want to miss anything, but I gotta go. There's a lady and her children huddled underneath the sink in the bathroom because they're so scared. And I don't know who was coming through me, but I stopped and comforted these children, telling them, you know, this brick building has been here for 100 years. You're going to be just fine. They're on the other side of the road. I was suddenly the good witch. For a few minutes, I was the good witch, and these were Munchkins. At this time, of course, I didn't correlate this. And then we went on. So, and she had taken pictures of everything. You know, she's a photographer. She's out there. And she says, so she finally says, are you done with tornadoes yet? I said, yeah. And they moved on.